Throughout your life, you have been cooking, possibly even following the same traditions that your mother or grandmother instilled in you. That's the problem. These routines seem secure, comfortable, and familiar. However, what if I told you that some of the things you do on a daily basis without giving them any consideration could be endangering your health? Many elderly folks still follow common kitchen practices which are alarming doctors across. These commonplace practices, such as recycling cooking oil or washing raw chicken, may be unknowingly increasing your risk of high blood pressure, foodborne illness, or even chronic inflammation. It sounds unjust, doesn't it? It's possible that the very things we do to take care of our children and ourselves, those small routine gestures of love in the kitchen, are having the opposite effect of what we intended. In this video, we examine 10 of the most common yet harmful cooking practices, particularly for individuals over 60. More significantly, we'll discuss easy strategies to modify them without sacrificing your favorite foods or routines. Reusing cooking oil is the first mot. It looks innocuous enough. It has been a generation-old tradition to fry up a batch of bacon or chicken and then pour the oil into a can or jar rather than discarding it, reasoning that it still looks good. It was your mom. It was her mother. Perhaps you've done it all your life. Here's the reality, though. Cooking oil that has been reused is not outdated. It's dangerous. Oil undergoes structural changes if it is heated to high temperatures. It begins to decompose and release substances known as free radicals. These terms aren't merely sophisticated scientific terms. Inflammation, oxidative stress, and blood vessel damage have all been directly related to free radicals. That's significant, particularly for senior citizens who are already coping with heart disease or high blood pressure. Even worse, oil that is heated repeatedly can produce harmful substances like acrylamide and aldehydes, which are both known to raise the risk of cancer. Furthermore, such chemicals do not disappear when the oil is filtered. They are there, lingering in that remaining grease, but you can't see or smell them. What else are you able to do? You don't have to stop frying completely, but give this a try. Oil should only be used once or twice. Keep it out of direct sunlight and heat in an airtight container. Additionally, it should be thrown out if it has a sticky texture, looks dark, or smells bad. Additionally, you can use oils like refined sunflower oil or avocado oil, which are better at withstanding heat. Because they are more stable at high temperatures, cooking produces less toxic chemicals. You've spent decades taking care of your family and your physique. Reusing oil is a minor inconvenience that should not be used against you. Your brain, heart, and entire body will now appreciate you for this small adjustment. Now wait until you hear about what's not being cooked enough if oil is subtly hurting you. Secondly, a meat thermometer is not used. You have 50 years of meat cooking experience. Steak, pork chops, and roast fowl. I take it you know how to recognize when it's finished? You prod it. You examine the hue. It's safe if the fluids run clear. That's what we've always thought anyway. Here's the catch, though. Your eyes are deceiving. The inside of that golden brown chicken leg may still be uncooked. The temperature required to destroy bacteria may not have been reached by that perfectly cooked, juicy pork chop. Furthermore, color isn't necessarily a trustworthy indicator of safety. Nearly 1 in 6 Americans suffer from foodborne illnesses each year, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That is more than 48 million individuals. Additionally, as we age, our immune systems deteriorate, making older persons the most vulnerable to major consequences. Your day could be ruined by a stomach ailment at 30. It can land you in the hospital at 70. Ground beef, pig, and undercooked chicken are the most frequent offenders. Furthermore, a meat thermometer, not a guess or an eyeball, is the only reliable way to determine whether your food is safe. Take a measure. According to the USDA, these are the safe internal temperatures. Turkey and chicken, 165 degrees F meats that have been ground, 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Place whole cuts of beef,
lamb, and pig at 145 degree IF and let them rest for 3 minutes. The price of a digital meat thermometer is under $10. It can prevent days of stomach agony or worse, yet it only takes 5 seconds to use. Consider it this way. You check your cholesterol, blood sugar, and blood pressure. Would you mind checking your dinner? Undercooked meat is dangerous, but there is another danger right on your kitchen counter. Many of us continue to do it out of habit, and it could be making your meals a haven for bacteria. Third, using the counter to defrost meat. This one is timeless. In the morning, you pull out a frozen package of chicken, place it on the kitchen counter, and by the evening, it has thawed and is prepared for cooking.
Many of us grew up doing it that way. It is effortless, effective, and feels natural. Here's the truth, though. Bacteria thrive in the ideal conditions created when meat is left out at room temperature for hours. Indeed, that is just what bacteria desire. The danger zone, according to food safety experts, is between 40 degree and 140 degree F. Bacteria grow most quickly in that temperature range. The temperature of your kitchen counter is typically approximately 70 degrees. Salmonella and E. coli are among the dangerous microorganisms that can develop on thawed meat in as little as 2 hours. And once you start cooking, that expansion continues. Toxins released by certain bacteria persist after the meat is cooked through. It's an unspoken danger that gets worse with age. Due to changes in immune and digestive systems, older persons are more vulnerable to serious foodborne infections.
A stomach ache that used to be modest could now worsen over many days or possibly necessitate hospitalization. What is the safe method for thawing meat then? Option 1. The night before, put it in the fridge. It's the safest way, but it does take longer. Option 2. If you're pressed for time, utilize your microwave's defrost mode. The third option is to defrost the sealed package by immersing it in cold water and changing the water every half an hour. Stay away from the countertop at all costs. Simply said, the risk is not worth it, especially when there are easy and accessible safer alternatives. Wait till we discuss the following habit if you think this method of thawing meat is out of date. Many of us still adhere to this routine, one that experts say is harmful and totally needless. Washing raw chicken is number 4. Washing raw chicken was practically a hallowed practice in American homes for decades, so you might be surprised by this. After removing the chicken from its packaging, you rinse it in cold water in the sink and may even rub it with a little vinegar or lemon. You've been doing it for years, just like your mother did. It was the responsible and hygienic thing to do, you learned. Here are the current opinions of the U.S. Department of Agriculture and food safety specialists. Never wash raw chicken. Doesn't it seem counterintuitive? After all, washing raw meat seems like basic sense because it feels slimy. However, cleaning chicken doesn't get rid of dangerous diseases like Campylobacter or Salmonella. Rather, it disperses them. Water spills small, invisible droplets across your sink, tabletop, faucet handles, and even other food when it comes into contact with raw poultry. This implies that you could not even be aware that your salad, fruit bowl, or dish towel are infected. The actual threat is right here. Even a modest amount of these bacteria can cause significant sickness in elderly persons. For someone in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, what might be a 24-hour bug can become a serious infection. It's likely that you've observed that you don't recover from stomach bugs as quickly as you formerly did. What should you do in its place then? Easy. Do not rinse. Simply remove the chicken from its packaging and put it straight into your baking dish or cooking pan. After that, spend at least 20 seconds thoroughly cleaning your hands with warm, soapy water. Additionally, use a disinfectant to clean any surrounding surfaces after handling raw chicken. Recall that cooking, not rinsing, is what destroys bacteria. Chicken can be safely consumed if it is heated to at least 165 degrees F. Rinsing offers no advantages and only increases risk. Old habits don't go away easily. However, you and your loved ones might be spared something much worse than a disorganized wash basin if you let this one go. Wait till we discuss what's hiding on your cutting board and how it can be infecting every meal you prepare if that startled you. Fifth, everything is done on the same cutting board. Now let's discuss your cutting board. Like the majority of people, you most likely have a favorite board that you use for everything. Bread, meat, veggies, and even fruit. It's practical. It conserves room. Additionally, you may have been using the same board for years. Here's the problem though. Cross-contamination can occur quickly when fresh produce and raw meat are handled on the same cutting board. This is how it takes place.
You may cut ground meat or maybe raw chicken. Then you slice tomatoes or lettuce on the same surface without thinking. You aren't being irresponsible. Most likely, you've quickly rinsed it or wiped it down. However, even after a brief washing, bacteria from raw meat might remain in tiny creases. These germs are passed to the raw produce, which enters your mouth without being cooked. This type of cross-contamination is one of the main causes of foodborne disease in the U.S., according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Furthermore, problems are more likely to occur in older persons. Compared to your 30s, the consequences of food poisoning in your 70s might be far more severe. What is the solution then? It's easy and reasonably priced. You should have 2 different cutting boards in your kitchen. One for raw meats, poultry, and fish, and another for bread, fruits, vegetables, and everything else. To make it easier to remember, you can go one step further and use color-coded boards, such as red for meat and green for veggies. Additionally, especially if the board is made of wood, wash it immediately after use with hot soapy water. Plastic boards don't absorb as much bacteria and are simpler to sanitize. It's a minor habit, but it makes a tremendous difference because a single mistake can make a nutritious salad dangerous for your health. Let's now discuss one of the most ingrained culinary customs in America, one that has too much of a connection to comfort, taste, and even tradition. Your heart is being silently impacted by it. Sixth, excessive salting. Salt is the foundation of flavor in cooking. In the boiling water, add a pinch, potatoes with a shake. Here and there, a dash. You never even consider it. Muscle memory is the cause. You've spent your entire life cooking in this manner. Here's the harsh reality, though. One meal at a time, too much salt is harming your health. The majority of Americans, particularly those over 60, consume significantly more sodium than they should, according to the American Heart Association. Additionally, consuming too much salt causes more than just thirst. It increases the risk of heart disease and stroke, strains the kidneys, and raises blood pressure. Perhaps this is the catch, even though you might be thinking, I don't add that much salt. It builds up. There is salt in your pasta water, in your sauce, at the table, and in many prepared or canned foods, even ones that don't taste salty. This is particularly crucial if you currently take heart medication or have high blood pressure. Within weeks, blood pressure can be lowered by even a small decrease in sodium intake. That isn't a theory. Decades of investigation have supported this science. So how can you prepare tasty food without using too much salt? Here are some easy pointers. Make use of spices and herbs. Powdered garlic, onion, basil, oregano, thyme, and rosemary. These add complexity without increasing salt levels. Try adding a little citrus. Vinegar or lemon juice can add brightness to food and substitute for the pop salt that is typically used. Make the switch to canned products or low-sodium broths, and always read nutrition labels. Above everything, always taste before adding. You may not require as much as you believe. Consider this shift as a gesture of love for your future, your brain, and your heart. It's not about flavor loss, it's about cooking more efficiently. We frequently do it to those unfortunate vegetables because it's the next habit. And as we age, it's robbing us of the very nutrients we need most. 7. Vegetables that are overcooked. You were probably instructed to boil veggies until they were tender, perhaps even mushy, if you were raised in a conventional American home. The green beans became drab olive in hue.
Broccoli became something you could mash with a fork, while carrots lost their crunch. That's just the way it was. It was prepared safely, tasted good, and was simpler to digest. Here's the problem, though. We are destroying the nutrients in our vegetables when we overcook them. Vitamin C, B-complex vitamins, folate, and potent antioxidants are all abundant in vegetables. However, a lot of these nutrients are very heat-sensitive and soluble in water. In other words, you're not only softening vegetables when you boil them for an extended period of time or steam them till they lose color. Their health benefits are being depleted by you. Why is that important? Because our bodies require those nutrients more than ever as we age. They strengthen our immune systems, prevent inflammation, and maintain mental clarity. One of our simplest defenses against age-related health problems would be lost if they were gone. The good news is that there is an easier and better way. Instead, try these techniques. Lightly steam. The vegetables should be vibrantly colored and yet slightly crunchy after a few minutes. Cook. They can be made tasty and nutrient-dense with a simple toss of garlic or herbs in olive oil. Microwave. Add a little amount of water to a microwave-safe bowl and loosely cover. Compared to boiling, it retains more nutrients.
Additionally, keep in mind that color conveys a lot. Vivid orange, deep crimson, and bright green. The nutrients are still present based on those colors. Consuming veggies shouldn't be a chore. It ought to be similar to feeding your future, bite by bit. How long do you typically keep food out on the counter before putting it in the refrigerator? Speaking of the future, we must speak if it is longer than 2 hours. Amit left the food out in the refrigerator for too long. You just got done eating dinner. Perhaps it's a robust meat stew or your well-known chili. The temperature remains warm. The aroma in the kitchen is wonderful. I'll wait for it to cool before putting it in the refrigerator, you think? I don't want the entire place to get too hot. Does that sound familiar? The majority of us were taught it. Don't put hot food in the refrigerator right away. It will damage the refrigerator, contaminate the food, or alter the temperature. Here are the current opinions of food safety specialists, however. Food should be refrigerated warm rather than left out for extended periods of time. Why? Food goes into what is known as the danger zone, which is between 40 and 140 degree F, when it is left at room temperature for longer than 2 hours. Bacteria proliferate quickly there. Additionally, it proceeds considerably more quickly if the space is heated, such as during the summer or when the oven is on. This is the actual issue. Certain bacteria leave behind toxins that are not destroyed by heat, even if you reheat the food later. This implies that even though your leftover stew tastes and looks great, it could still make you unwell. So, what ought one to do? To speed up cooling, divide large portions into smaller containers. After cooking for 1 to 2 hours, put the food in the refrigerator. Don't wait for it to cool completely. If condensation is a concern, leave the lid slightly open for the first few minutes. After that, make sure it won't damage your refrigerator by tightly sealing it. If the portions are manageable and well contained, modern refrigerators are designed to accommodate it. You put a lot of effort into preparing that dish. The route to food safety doesn't stop when you put it in the refrigerator, but don't allow bacteria ruin all your hard work. Let's discuss what occurs when leftovers are used excessively. The 9th is keeping leftovers in storage for too long. You are familiar with the sensation. You see that container in the back when you open the refrigerator. It might be from last weekend or Tuesday night. The scent is still fine. It looks good, so you decide to reheat it and eat it nonetheless because you dislike wasting food. Here's the reality, though. Some of the most harmful bacteria have no effect whatsoever on the sight or smell of food. You are unable to taste them. Although they are invisible, they exist and have the power to seriously ill you. The U.S. Department of Agriculture states that leftovers should be consumed within 3 to 4 days. Even if the food has been adequately chilled, the risk of contracting a foodborne illness increases dramatically after that.
Because our immune systems aren't as robust as they once were, older folks are more vulnerable. For someone over 65, a small amount of spoilt chicken salad can cause weakness, dehydration, or worse. For a 20-year-old, it might just cause an upset stomach. So, how can you avoid feeling like you're throwing away delicious food while staying safe? Put the date you made the leftovers on the label. Make use of a marker and masking tape, simple and efficient. Observe the maxim, 4 days in, 2 hours out. Use the golden rule if you're unsure of how long it's been sitting there. Throw it out when in doubt. Here's a hint too. If you won't be using leftovers for a few days, freeze them. In this manner, nothing is wasted. Though love also entails knowing when to let go, food is love. Now, if you're watching how long food is left out, what about the initial cooking method? Let's conclude with a final habit that focuses on accuracy, security, and tranquility. 10. A food thermometer is not used. Putting sight before safety. Let's be truthful. You have a sixth feel in the kitchen from decades of cooking. The fragrance, the appearance, or the sizzle alone can tell you when something is finished. A roast that is golden brown. That's finished. A burger that is juicy. It appears to be correct. With your experience, why would you need a thermometer? Here are the opinions of medical professionals and food safety specialists, however. Particularly when it comes to meat and poultry, appearances can be deceiving. Something is not always safe on the inside just because it appears cooked on the exterior. Additionally, the stakes are bigger as you become older. The way your body fights against infections has changed. A little amount of E. coli or salmonella. A young person might hardly be impacted by coli from undercooked beef, pig, or poultry, while an elderly person could be hospitalized. Using a food thermometer eliminates the need for guesswork. No more questioning whether the color looks correct or whether the juices are clear. To be certain, you simply take a look at the inside temperature. The U.S. Department of Agriculture suggests the following. Turkey and chicken at 165 degrees F, 160 F for ground beef or pork. Whole lamb, beef, or hog cuts should be cooked at 145 F and rested for 3 minutes. The price of a basic digital food thermometer is about $10. Using it only takes 5 seconds, and it might keep you healthy for days or even weeks. To keep your house comfortable, you monitor your thermostat. To keep your heart safe, you check your blood pressure. Your dinner, isn't it equally important? One of the greatest pleasures in life is food. Let's ensure that it's one of its safe ones as well. It has nothing to do with fear. They're not about sacrificing your passions. They are about respecting your future, your body, and your intelligence. The idea is to keep taking care of yourself the same way you've always taken care of everyone else. Although each of the habits we discussed today is only a minor change, taken as a whole, they safeguard your intuition, your heart, your strength, and your independence. You don't have to make all the changes at once. Take one first. Perhaps a food thermometer is being used. Perhaps it's putting leftovers in the fridge sooner. Perhaps it's getting rid of that old cooking oil container. Know this, whatever it is, the work is worthwhile for you. Your well-being, comfort, and tranquility are important. And you're not the only one. One meal at a time, we're learning, developing, and remaining strong together. I'd like to hear from you now. Which of these behaviors caught you off guard?
This week, which one will you attempt to alter? Let's discuss in the comments section. Remember that we'll get into the good stuff in our upcoming video, 10 easy kitchen practices that increase longevity, vitality, and health. You should not miss it. Keep yourself safe, be inquisitive, and continue cooking with